EzDent-i, Chapter 2, Acquisition tab, the Easy Sensor Setup and Configuration. Objectives are: set up and configure the Easy Sensor to include the following: FMX Layout Editor, assigning layout sets, and setting capture sequence. Starting from the EzDent-i chart, we'll left-click on the EzDent icon in the upper left-hand corner, and then left-click on FMX Layout Editor. From here, we have predefined layouts that are already bundled with the software, including a 10 FMX setup with 5 upper and 5 lower intraoral images with teeth numbers already predefined. We have a 14 FMX setup, 7 upper and 7 lower, again with teeth numbers already predefined, a 16 image layout with 14 images including 2 bite wings, and 18 FMX with 14 intraoral PA images and 4 bite wings, as well as a 22 FMX with 18 PAs and 4 bite wing images. We also have 2 bite wing layout editor gallery, a 4 bite wing gallery, and a 7 vertical bite wing gallery, with the arrows indicating the direction of the wire as it would come out of the patient's mouth. We can work with these predefined layouts, or we can also create our own custom layouts as well. To create a custom layout, we can left-click on the plus icon there in the upper left-hand corner, and then from here we can then create our name. In this case here, we'll put in Vatech as our layout name, and then we'll go ahead and define this to layout or setup number 1. We now have our new layout, and then from here we can then go ahead and populate it with our intraoral images. We'll click once on the horizontal frame, left click, put that into place, left click again, add another one, left click again, put in our third, and now we'll put 3 more then for the left hand side of the arch. Left click and drag it over, left click, and then we'll go ahead and rotate it around 180 degrees. Left click and add another one for the left hand side, rotate that 180 degrees, and add one more to put on the left hand side, and then rotate that 180 degrees as well. We can then move these around to lay it out aesthetically, and then from there, if we wish to, we can add 2 vertical ones. Left click and drag it into place, left click on the second one, drag it into place as well, and then again we go ahead and assign it and lay it out so it's laid out symmetrically from an aesthetic point of view. And once you have everything set up, at that point in time we can go ahead and then start defining our teeth numbers. We can either start from the right molar if we wish to, or we can also start from the central incisal area by double clicking. In this case here we'll do right 1 for central incisor, double click again, and there's this one here for R3, the next one for right for 5, and then again for R7. Do the same thing then for the left hand side, double click L1, double click again for L3, double click again for L5, select OK, double click again for L7, select OK again, and now we've essentially completed our layout. Click on Save. Assign this again to set number 1 as we do for all of our sets, and then from there click on OK to save it, and then click on Close. We can also modify an existing layout, so go back to our layout editor, and then from there we'll take one that is similar to what we want to use, we'll go ahead and copy it, we'll give it a new unique name, in this case here Vatech 2, assign this also to set number 1, select OK, and now we've saved it to set number 1 as part of our layouts. From here we can then go ahead and modify this here by left clicking and moving these frames to our new location, and then add 2 vertical PAs if we want. Left click and orient it to make it more symmetrical. You can also enlarge these as well, strictly from an aesthetic point of view. Recenter them to make it symmetrical again. And once we have them set up, you'll notice that the bite wing views already have teeth numbers assigned to them, so the vertical ones we need to double click and then assign tooth numbers for those. Assign our tooth number for the central, and once we have our layout set the way we want, we can go ahead and click on Save, assign this to set number 1, click on OK, and then click on Close. The next task we can do is to either edit, modify, and even delete any of our new galleries or layouts that we've created. You notice that we don't have the ability to edit any of the predefined layouts, but the ones with the green padlock we can change. So in this case here, left clicking on Modify, we can then change the name of this layout, click on Save, assign it to set number 1, and then click on OK. We can copy that existing layout as well as any of the predefined ones. We can also enlarge them if we want to. Click on Save, assign to set number 1 again here, click on Close, and then from there we can also delete any galleries or layouts that we don't want to use. Notice that we cannot delete any of the predefined ones. However, if we go down and we decide to delete one of the new ones that we've created, we can click on the trash can up there to delete it. So in this case here, we'll delete Vatech number 2, which is now gone from our database. But the ones with the black padlock are ones that cannot be edited, modified, or deleted. The next part we'll take a look at as part of our setup is going into the settings. We'll left click on Settings, and then from there left click on Acquisition. Once we left click on Acquisition, we'll then go over to FMX. At the top line you'll see that we have a drop down where we can choose from various sets to use as our default layouts. Set number 1 is most common, so that's the one we'll take a look at here. We'll left click on it, and then you'll see the layouts that are already defined to set number 1. Use a scroll bar along the top and you then see the Vatech 1 layout that we created earlier. Click on OK. The last step in our setup and configuration is setting up our sequence. We'll left click on the Acquisition tab, left click on the IO Sensor icon, and then left click on the Change Layout tab. From there we see the 4 layouts associated with set number 1, including the set created called Vatech 1. You notice that R7 is already predefined as sequence number 1. If we left click on it again, it turns it off if we can start a sequence on the other side. In this case here, we'll left click on L7 here, and then continue on the right hand side, and then identify the last 2 in the central incisal area. Click on Store, and that becomes our new default sequence. We can also go to the default sequence by putting a check mark there, and you notice that the tooth number order has changed. If we remove that check mark, it will then go back to the previous defined sequence that we established. In summary, you should now be able to set up and configure the EzDent to include the following: the FMX layout editor, assigning layout sets, and setting capture sequence.